Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Clone Zone. I saw some people already talking. Yeah, we are fashionably late as usual. Today, we are joined by the Bombadcast. Jerry and Scotty, thank you so much for joining us.
An honor. An honor.
Thank
truly.
you so much for having us on, guys.
Yeah, you've been coming to us for a while now, so I'm just happy to be with y'all. It's so special. And Molly, what? Molly's even here.
Well, we haven't had Molly on Bombadcast yet, so we got to make that happen pretty soon.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, let's do it.
I saw people saying, yeah, we're fashionably late, and in true Han Solo fashion, I'm going to go, it's not my fault. Jerry had to figure out his microphone situation.
It's if you're a viewer of Bombadcast, it makes sense. So yeah, it's
yes.
fine. It's fine.
Yes.
Well, obviously today we're going to be talking about The Bad Batch, episode 3 called Replacements. And before we dive into the episode, I just real quick, Jerry and Scotty, want to get your take on the series so far. Are you liking it more than you thought you would? The same, less than? How are you feeling?
Jerry, what do you think, bud?
Man. I am. I don't know if it's quite what I expected. I don't know what I expected to begin with. I knew it was going to be something different than when we all heard it announced and we were like, what, why would you make that series? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff. But I wasn't expecting, as a father, a story. I'm a girl dad. I've got a little blonde girl, just like, Omega. And I don't know if you've seen my Twitter presence recently, but I have been firmly on the Omega defense squad. And so I didn't see this like story about I don't know, maybe like a little bit of a parent-child relationship, but more just like finding humanity in these soldiers who are treated as less than human and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so it's been a fantastic portrait of the rise of the Empire, like into the nitty-gritty details that I just eat up. So I've been loving it. So Scotty, go ahead, bud.
No, I'm a big fan of how it's flowed. Like, it's moving a lot faster than expected, especially after this last episode with the, kind of some allusions to maybe some things that'll show up later. The Wrecker moment where I'm like, uh-oh, that makes me that genuinely scares me. Like, he could really go full on, like, Jekyll and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like, it could be a lot. So I'm really impressed that this show is moving as fast as it does, and I have no idea where it's going to go, and I think it's wonderful. We know Fennec Shand shows up, and it's pretty much close to it after that.
Agreed. Jerry, real quick before we get full on into the episode, I'm curious how this feels different because of your daughter. Do you connect with it any more than, like, say, the relationship between Din and Grogu? Is there something special about it?
I think there is, because I felt a little bit of that with like, it's weird. Like you understand on, like, everyone understands on some level that parents care for their kid, like good parents care for their kids and stuff. But I don't know, it's like the things that everyone tells you before, like, you have a kid, like all the really cliche stuff, it's true. And I hate that it's true because it's cliche, but you can't watch movies and see like a parent-child relationship and not feel those feelings. But there's something just about the way that Omega interacts with just all of the Bad Batch, but specifically Hunter, because it is very much it's very true to life. And my kiddo is just 4, so she's still very little, but she's starting to communicate more. But it's very like, usually the way little girls are portrayed in media, it feels like a more realistic take on how little girls really are, especially in her situation, where she's innocent and pure, but is not like she's brave, and she has like moments of just like she's like just genuinely compassionate and empathetic and just a really strong character. And I can't say enough good stuff about Omega. So but it really just kind of hits me as like it seems like it's the most realistic take that I've seen in anything, especially in Star Wars.
My view of her has turned in this episode. Like, I like that she finally went out and did something really brave. That's when the character, I wasn't sold on Omega yet. And then this episode this morning, I was like, man,
Heartless.
I actually really like that. She kind of went and, did her own thing. Now, I'm not heartless. She went and did her own thing. And it was really kind of cool. She had that moment with the dragon thing. You know this, Alex. I don't.
The Ordo Moon Dragon. I mean, it's
Ordo
a new
Moon
creature.
Dragon.
It's a cool name.
Had
Cool
to learn
name.
that today.
Really cool
then,
design, though.
Yes, it reminded me of
Go
a Macquarie design. But looking at it, it's kind of cool. We don't know what her little trick is yet. Obviously, being a female is different than most of the male clones, but it's not just that. It's never going to be just that. So I'm excited to see how that develops too.
Yeah.
I love how she just she almost doesn't have a filter because she's been so sheltered her whole life. So when a problem or something comes up, she's just like, oh yeah, let's do this. Or so like when Hunter was down, she's like, oh, well, all right, time to go to work. Like I got to go get this part.
Yeah. I like that she
doesn't even question it.
We'll dive in now to the episode itself, and we'll talk about it amongst ourselves for about half an hour. And then we'll take some questions from chat. So if you want to get them in the queue, go ahead and send a super chat. If not, we'll just take them directly from chat when the time comes. But I love that she calls for help and is like, hey, Echo Tech or Echo Tick, there's a problem. But she doesn't wait for help. She's like, come get Hunter. He needs help. I got this. I'm going to go in. I loved that.
Oh, dude. Just that, and I have to say, I think I posted on Twitter the other day, like try saying Omega without saying it in your head without saying it in her accent, in her Kiwi accent.
Can't not.
I love that accent. It's like Omega.
It's too much fun.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
It's so adorable, and not in like a patronizing way. Just like anyway. Again, I can't say enough about Omega.
So
sorry, Alex.
No, go ahead.
As it just felt like a really good episode for one part of it, right? You're watching the really wholesome story, and my favorite part was when Wrecker's like, "We're all gonna die, we're all gonna die, we're all gonna be fine," and I'm like, "Oh, it's so good." And
I snorted laughing at that
just
the third time I'm watching it just before we got on. I snorted, not even meaning to. I'm like, I think it's the funniest moment in Star Wars animation for me. Yeah, honestly, that moment just was so because it's the way he looks. Just doesn't move his head, just looks like and goes, we're gonna be fine.
Let's talk about Wrecker, because there is a lot to talk about for him.
Oh,
and man. His stuff growing with Omega, and like he doesn't remember or know how to act around a child. He's like ready to take her food. But his whole arc with her, and yes, that moment is part of it. And realizing, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't yell about how we're all gonna die right next to her. And like the whole
mentally, he's probably like on the same level as her, so that's why they get along so well. But yeah, he's also still a clone and a fighter and wants to eat everything and be very dramatic and talk about dying. And that moment of him saying we're gonna die, we're gonna be fine, it's so like subtle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm loving all the like little subtle comedic spots in the show so far involving them trying to deal with having a little girl on the ship.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
man,
the fact that by the end of the episode he straight up builds her a room.
It's so cute.
Yes,
it's so. I love that so much.
It's so wholesome. Like I was just like sitting like beaming on my couch like today. Oh, so good.
Something I think this show is doing really well is foreshadowing without being overly obvious. Where like Hunter has that just throwaway, like she doesn't even have a place to sleep. Like don't steal her food. Mm-hmm. And to me, that wasn't a very obvious, like, oh yeah, now Wrecker's going to build her a home. But like, at the end, you just know that makes so much sense. Or Wrecker's little head bump. At first, I was like, "Oh, funny joke," but then he kept bringing it up, and I was like, "Oh no,
I'm not ready for that. I am not mentally prepared for that."
I did not catch that at all when I watched the episode this morning, and we were walking the dog, and he was like, "Oh yeah, Wrecker's head thing's gonna definitely come back," because he kept mentioning it. And I was like, oh no,
I know.
Like his chip is probably going to go off kind of like a little bit. And out of all the clones there, he's going to be the scariest one to deal with.
Oh yeah,
he's unstoppable and saddest.
Yes, definitely
the most tragic one if he turns. But I mean, Tick is working on his scanner. He's working on a scanner to try and locate his. Phantom Menace reference. Very subtle.
Gonna put it in there somewhere.
But that would be. Please don't take Uncle Wrecker from us.
Lost sound there.
Oh, can you guys hear me? It says I'm still on.
I hear you.
Okay. All right. I was just begging to Filoni and the Star Wars gods. Don't take Uncle Wrecker from us, please.
Yeah.
I like the parallels to Empire in this one. They crash somewhere and they have a monster outside the cave. I mean, it's subtle, right? But you can see it's definitely there. Just there's something lurking out there that they don't know how to handle. And I love that Omega's the one that figures it out. That was really, really cool. It felt a little bit like Rebels, but without it being it's totally its own thing, like in its own right. It's a really cool dynamic that I was not expecting to see. Her and Hunter are obviously the focus of these first couple episodes. I'd imagine it's going to start to be, Omega and Tech, and then Omega and Echo, and I'm really hoping that's how it ends up kind of expanding from this point on.
Yeah, I was fully expecting there to be Minox just chewing on their power cables, but I'm glad that they made it something different.
It gave me real Alien vibes, as in Ridley Scott's Alien.
Oh,
I was afraid that they had like those little holes. I was like, are those freaking egg sacs? Are we getting facehuggered? What's happening here?
The crossover of a century in Bad Batch.
Please, no more space spiders. I can't. My nerves can't handle it after the Mandalorian. Okay.
No, thank you.
It was very. Now, speaking of Ridley Scott, I mean, it was very. I don't know. I'm thinking Ridley Scott to James Cameron. That creature was very almost Avatar-esque.
Yes,
a little bit. It seemed because it had the bioluminescence, which was a cool effect. But just even the design, it just looked like something from Pandora to me a little bit, but still very Star Wars.
I want to say one thing too, because I saw the cinematographer who worked on this pointed out, like, make sure you have a 4K TV just for this show, and I'm like, all the animated shows have looked great, but this episode was stellar. Like the dust particles in the air as Omega's going through that little tunnel. I'm like, yo, like this is the craziest thing. Yes, the breath. You can see
their.
I'm blown away by that.
There was some worry on my part that Disney Plus wasn't going to take their animated stuff as seriously as their live action. And then like the Clone Wars came out and I was like, this looks beautiful. And the Bad Batch is just continuing that. I'm so thrilled that they are. I mean, I should have known it's Disney. They love animation. So they're taking this like just as seriously as their live action stuff. And I was even noticing that on Onderon, for example, everyone looked different. I think there were maybe two character models that were repeated, like one or two. But for the most part, when you watch like Rebels season 1, the Clone Wars season 1, it's like you see the same background people over and over and over. And I'm like, they're not doing that. They're given the budget to do like all this stuff.
I agree with that.
As a camera nerd, this was something that I constantly notice in things. And I really appreciate that.
It's a hard thing to pull off in animation, and they're doing it really smooth in this show. And like, I don't know, at this point now, we've got two things. We've got, one story that's really kind of nice, and the other part of the story that's really, really dark. Like
very dark.
Like I was debating at some point, because today was kind of a free day at work. I'm a middle school teacher, by the way, for anyone in the chat that doesn't know. And I was like, maybe I'll show them this episode of Bad Batch just to put it on like during class. Like, what's going on today? It's a Friday. School ends next week. And so I'm watching that this morning. And I'm like, nope. Like I'm going to get a letter from a parent 100% when Crosshair's like, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, geez, man, they took it there. They took it there today, and I was not expecting that at all.
To talk about like season 1s of these shows, they usually kind of have a reset where it's for a younger audience and it grows up with the audience. I would say that Clone Wars, Rebels, and Resistance all did that. And the Bad Batch is like, no, we know you grew up watching the Clone Wars, and this is just a continuation of the Clone Wars, and it's going to be just like there's that turning point, I would say, in the Slaver arc of the Clone Wars, where it's like they're just killing innocent people constantly, and it feels like that, where you're just, this is bad. There's war crimes in this show.
Yep, more war crimes.
And when the off-camera stuff is,
oh yeah.
When he says that line again, it's so robotic, and it's like,
good
soldiers
it's follow orders.
I know, it's brutal. Like the one part of that moment too, when he turned around and watched them gun down those people, the one that got me, and I didn't think about it till hearing it this time. I had headphones and watching it. You hear that flamethrower go,
yeah,
yes,
and I'm like,
if I were that guy, I'd be like, I'll just stand over here. Like, we don't need this.
It's like, my God, they did that. They really did.
It's like
that.
You didn't bring. That's the one thing you've got. You don't have like a pistol or something, man. I mean, come on.
Put that over your shoulder.
I wanted to bring this guy up because I totally agree. The Imperial elite squad soldier person that goes against them was not the person I thought would be doing that, but I liked that it was. He was a very interesting character where he was like, oh, I'm going to be the one to take command, and like, clones, your time is over. I was like, this guy's going to be trouble. And then he's the one that's like, nope, this is wrong. Shut it down.
He has the moral center.
That was weird.
He's like, I didn't sign up to be like an execution squad or something like that. But I was going to say the flamethrower character took a page out of it, straight out of New Hope. Whoever got to Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru.
Yeah, seriously.
Maybe that's what happened. Maybe there you go. Yeah, we'll say that. So,
and that's just like how the Empire operates. Is so much of it is through fear, and like those other people, the ones that are left alive, are like, I guess I'm going to kill these people because I don't want to die. Yeah, and so there's so much just fear-driven doctrine in all of the Empire, and I thought they really distilled what the Empire was all about into these just Onderon scenes.
Oh, wow.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see Tarkin and Rampart.
Yes.
That's the other guy's name. I liked their dynamic, and Tarkin is just as cold-blooded as you would expect for all of this stuff. He's just like super down with Crosshair being this like now killing machine with no feelings. And he's like, interesting. And I love the name drop of Project War Mantle.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah.
We were laughing
I had just
that,
watched Rogue One literally 2 nights ago, and I'm like, oh, how perfect. I can't believe it.
We were talking and saying that, like, it's just Star Wars nerds are going to be like, oh my God, they said the thing from the movie.
It's the easiest thing to do, means basically nothing, but everyone's like, oh my God, War Mantle.
Well, 2016, we heard that. We're like, what are all these things? You know, when they dropped them, now by one, we're getting them now. And it's a great name too. I tried to break it down. I really couldn't figure out what it could allude to. I know it alludes to obviously the program itself, but I remember hearing on your review, Alex, you said something about it being possibly the Death Troopers, which would be the color scheme and everything, you know, with the green lenses and
that's most likely Molly's taken charge on that theory. Yeah, but I buy it more and more every week.
I think you're dead on, honestly. No pun really intended, honestly. I really do think you're dead on, Molly.
I really hope that that's the case, just because I like to be right. And just like the way that the Death Troopers look, it's so similar to Crosshair. He's like tall and slim, and that's exactly how they look in Rogue One.
Wow.
And
man.
The one thing I thought too, there was a symbol inside of their little quarters that they're in. Obviously, the Bad Batch's old quarters, where they all got into. One of them got into what appeared to be a bed that had like a skull and crossbones like right behind it. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, they could don that symbol now that the Bad Batch is technically not part of, you know, the Empire anymore. So passing of the symbol.
Yeah, if they just start calling themselves Death Troopers or something.
Yep.
Do they ever call them Death Troopers in Rogue One or in Rebels? Because Death Troopers could just be what we know them as, and really like the correct Imperial term is this elite squad.
Elite squad.
Yeah, it's kind of like Death Star, where it's like,
right.
Yeah, the Imperials who are in the know call it that, but everyone else calls it the DS1 orbital platform. Like, that's not.
Because I mean,
we're not walking around calling it the Death Star.
If the Empire is going to be like,
it's not good PR.
Don't worry, you guys, you're safe. You know, the Empire's taking care of everything. We have Death Troopers. Like, that's not going to sell too easily to the public.
Not at all.
That's probably a good point that they call it. No, don't worry. Our elite squad troopers are here.
Yeah, it's that, the Death Troopers, they're just like the Empire's Mounties. That's all they are. That's all they are. They're the Mountie. They're the Royal Mounted Police of the Empire. So that's what we're gonna call them. And then behind the scenes, they are just absolute murderers. So.
Yeah, savages. I really, really enjoyed the fact that we're seeing the Kaminoans too, kind of playing, the other side, doing the Palpatine thing, where we'll let them do this, but we're in the back figuring this out. And I wonder what that moment was between it was Lamasu and I always forget.
They're similar.
It's crazy because I didn't think they would show back up so soon, and here we are watching them like, oh, we're right back here already. I thought we were gonna wait 3 or 4 episodes, but I love that they're like, well, what's the contingency plan for this? I'm like, let's use that word. That's a good word. Yeah,
I really do love that they went into Crosshair, because he is a member of the Bad Batch, and it shouldn't be just someone that pops up occasionally and he's like, I'm here to be a threat to you, and then I'll be gone for another few episodes. I like that they're still bringing him into the story.
It's so cool to see the Kaminoans, like their point of view and like their mindset. And after Order 66, they're just kind of like trying to gauge what the Empire wants exactly, and dealing with cheap Tarkin who doesn't want to pay for anything, apparently.
Right.
And they're like, our clones are the best of the best, and you can't get better than that.
I realized the other day after the first episode, I watched the first episode again. Do we know why he's being cheap, right? Does anyone know why? I know why. Does it make sense to anyone else?
We've talked about it. So.
He mentioned something. I forget what it is.
He's funding the Death Star. He's trying to change all of his funds to go from being, clone, obviously trying to make a police force, but he's trying to make that at least to me, that fund's got to go somewhere far more important. That's going to be on his table at some point. It's got to be the Death Star. That's why he's trying to cut so much corners.
Yeah, and all the Imperial ships that they've got to have at some point.
I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I hope we get to see like an early TIE fighter in the show.
That would be cool. I'm looking forward to that, because there is going to be a transitional armor that none of us are ready for, and we're going to lose our minds. There's something between a Phase 3 and then a Stormtrooper. It's going to be sick.
We are getting every juicy nugget that we've ever wanted to know.
Yes.
Like just bit by bit. It's going to be a slow drip, and it's going to be the best thing. Like this summer is going to be incredible, just with canon. Like, here's how this became what you see in A New Hope and stuff. This is just it's not what I thought, and it is what I thought at the same time.
They're doing a really good job of doing that and explaining things, but balancing it with like it makes sense for the story why this is happening. It's not just a Wikipedia entry.
Not at all.
It's
Rick O'Lee isn't popping in and going, see, these are the new armor over here.
Could you imagine?
Well, that was kind of. I feel like Tech kind of had that role in the first episode. It's like, Saw Gerrera, you were trained by Anakin Skywalker.
The thing about Tech too is he's been the character to be well, isn't that obvious? The entire last 3 episodes, that's one of those.
He did it again, and Hunter called him out on it, and I was like, "Thank you, Hunter." He was like, "Hey, that would have been good to know earlier, Tech."
Yes,
I'm glad that they're recognizing that this is starting to get annoying for them, and maybe Tech will start to get a little bit better about it.
Yeah, I would hope so. And one thing I do like as well with this is that when you watch the Bad Batch arc, from Clone Wars last season, you're watching it and you're like, man, these are pretty outrageous characters. Like every attribute that they had was, kind of extreme there. But now when you watch the actual show, they're all subdued. No one's it's not Hunter all the time, 24/7, just breaking and being reckless. Now it's kind of Hunter being, not Hunter, I'm sorry. Wrecker being reckless and super strong. He's kind of, kind of calm now. And I like that. I was afraid the show would be multiple personality, like huge moments each episode. I'm like, this is kind of nice that, they're all sharing a moment rather than it being all about, each one of them the entire time.
Yeah, I think that was the plan for the Bad Batch arc when that's all it was going to be. Like, let's bring in these big, loud, extreme characters. Yep. That'll be fun. And then they're like, this would be an interesting show. Mm-hmm. Now we have to make them humans, like actual characters. But they did it right away.
It's those personalities in this life and death situation. It's like, when you are put in a situation, you react in a certain way and stuff. And so, and I will say, I was not Wrecker's big. I thought Wrecker was a cool character, but I was like, this is going to get old in a show. Just like, oh, let me blow something up, like all the time. But he has become one of the most endearing characters on that show to me.
Yeah, actually,
besides Omega. Besides Omega. So.
I loved Wrecker from the get-go, from the first arc. And I've always been on the Wrecker train, so I'm proud to say I'm still.
That's awesome. I think the Wrecker train needs to be a T-shirt. I'm just saying that.
When they first showed up, I was a little bit like this Wrecker guy is gonna get old fast if he just is like Hulk smash all the time.
Yes.
But yeah,
Professor Hulk eventually.
Yeah. But they're doing such a great job at giving him more depth as a character. And I think Tech is still my favorite out of the bunch. I've loved him from the beginning, and how like nerdy and kind of like Omega, he doesn't really have a filter, and he's like, oh, I thought that was obvious. Like,
yeah, right.
Even though that's getting annoying, I still thought that it was really endearing.
I love that as a running joke. I think it's great.
It works really because it's his personality. He's almost like C-3PO, but not as like, I mean this with love.
Frantic.
Grading. And, like, yeah. But yeah, it's absolutely just like C-3PO. Oh, the odds of that,
Yeah.
Okay, I have 2 questions for us, and then we will get into some chat questions.
Right.
The first one is mostly just for Jerry. I was curious, because you brought it up, what would you say was the most realistic Omega moment of the show, like where you're like, yep, that is how a young girl acts?
Oh man, I think the most real moment for me, I mean, I can joke around and say it's where she's on the iPad at the beginning, like the Amazon pad, whatever, the Leap pad, just like leaning against the Gonk droid, which was absolutely just adorable and stuff. But awesome. I think the most real moment is when the crash is happening and the Gonk droid slides and she reacts to the Gonk like, wow. I forget what noise she makes, but that's genuine. That was like I care about that giant walking trash can.
He has an official name now, and it's Gonky.
Does he?
Gonky?
Gonky.
That can I get a Black Series of Omega and Gonky? Please.
They have to do a Gonk just so like Wrecker can curl him. You can pose him with him holding the Gonk droid in various.
So like awesome. whenever we saw them like in like Clone Wars, like I was like, is that Gonk droid specifically there just for Wrecker to curl? And now it's just like I want it to become more of like a
chopper roll
part of that.
I would love it,
especially if AZ from Kamino's not going to join him anytime soon. I love that he showed up again. By the way,
yeah, I'm glad he's survived.
Alex was like, I don't think he's coming back. I think the light left his eyes, and I was like, no.
It did. The light literally faded away.
He had a great line too. He said, "I'll take your." I can't remember word for word. It was so amazing. He was like, "Get out of my face," and he's like, "All right, I will listen to that.
I will take your recommendation." And
that was it. That's it. One right away.
I don't know if we ever get. I know I'm getting in the weeds here. If we ever get Crosshair back, maybe he will bring AZ with him. Because that would just be, imagine AZ being like the C-3PO and Gonky is like, oh man,
Do you remember in season 6 of the Clone Wars when Fives like basically rides him? Yes. Like imagine Crosshair having to do that and just being furious about it.
Yeah, he's like, this looks ridiculous.
Oh, that's awesome.
We got that weird shot of Crosshair, just speaking of whether or not we're going to get him back. We got that kind of long shot of him when he sits down and he like has his gun to his side. Do you guys think that was him? Did he have like just nothing going on thought-wise in his brain, or is he like fighting a little bit with the chip?
I think he hates not having his crew and his brothers around. I really do. I think it's that. And
go ahead, Scotty. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, I think it's important to know that he's going to go through some sort of type of loneliness as well, you know. And I love that they addressed it in this episode. Finally, like, yeah, I really miss him. You know, the way Records is like, I really miss him. Yeah, but he shot you. He goes, yeah.
He just laughs about it.
So awesome.
No, that was a good one.
That was it. I just love that we are going to be able to see a dynamic that's going to hopefully unfold to where maybe Crosshair shows some emotion, and it's not going to be, you know, obvious. It's going to have to be probably a big moment for that to happen, but it's definitely there, Alex. I really do think it's right there.
He kind of sees that wall. He walks by the wall with all the notches in it. And he looks at it, and I wonder if that just kind of like sparks a little memory, and he's like, "Oh, it'd be nice to have."
Like he was getting kind of the chip touched up or something in this episode. So like it's very possible that we kind of made the joke about him being Winter Soldier before, where he might has these moments of he remembers who he was, and they're like, oh, quick, erase him. Like I could see it being something like that.
Well, and I mean, none of them really liked following orders. And so it seems like all of him like saying good soldiers follow orders is the chip. Like that's all the chip. Like I think he is in there, like in that moment, Molly. I think he is like fighting. Like that's why it's so blank. It's just there's a wall, and he's trying to get over it, and it's like Get Out, being trapped in the sunken place or something.
Yeah.
So horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to bring it down or anything.
Well, and to go back to the rest of the Bad Batch, that moment when Omega like knocks over Crosshair's like weapon kit or whatever, it was almost like, oh, we haven't brought him up in a while, and her knocking that over is like bringing back this kind of elephant in the room that we haven't really addressed.
I wonder if she did that on purpose, because like she talks Hunter through some of his feelings where he's like, I'm not mad at him. I'm mad at myself. I'm mad I left him behind. And she's like, we'll get him back. Like she's the one comforting everyone. And I wonder if she's like, they need to talk about Crosshair, and just like knocks this thing over. Is it in here? Is this what you need to talk about?
That moment when she touches his arm, the way she touches his arm and says, we'll get him back, is awesome. That's an amazing Omega moment right there.
It reminded me of when she like does something similar to Crosshair, and she's like, it's okay, it's not your fault, you can't help
exactly.
Like,
her special ability is empathy. That's what I can say. I mean, that's her special ability.
Well, that's since you bring it up again, you just know what questions I'm going to ask. That's the last question I wanted to pose to everyone, because it's the biggest mystery right now. So what does everyone think Omega's secret is? Like what is her purpose? Why did the Kaminoans make her?
She's going to make a great therapist one day.
Yeah.
That space therapist, the ultimate therapist.
I don't know what it could be. I've always liked the idea of a force sensitive clone. That would be so cool when she feels, really how they feel, but she doesn't know why she feels that way or understands their feelings so well, or can almost, Jedi mind trick and read their minds, right? I would personally love that, because it's, it adds a whole different layer to what we understand about the Force, right? But it's kind of cool because they mention how they need the specimen back, and I'm like the Kaminoans particularly, and I'm like, ooh, I mean, she
talking about their experiments that Nala Se has been doing.
Yes. Well. So I am very interested to see how that develops, but it would be cool if she's just
leave my girl alone.
Yeah, I know that. I hope they do too, but
it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Well, I'm here for the ride.
What do you think, actually? Because I'm on the Force camp, and some people might not be. What do you think?
I'm kind of leaning towards that. Someone in the chat said empathy equals force. Kind of the force. I mean, the light side, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is like that's like what the Jedi were supposed to be. They're supposed to be like empathetic beings, like these people who felt for people and helped people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And stuff. And so I would love that. And I mean, we probably hear it forever from, certain people, but for sympathy, I'm down with it. I don't know. Yeah. I'm even just fine with her just being very
in tune,
brilliant, like very brilliant, very intelligent, and just very proficient. Like she's basically like all the Bad Batch, maybe mixed together. Maybe not Wrecker or whatever, but what if? Yeah, maybe she's just like the whole cocktail.
We're both waiting for her to just pick the gonk droid up or something, like have one crazy moment where she does something and she's like super strong, because it does kind of feel like she has kind of little bits of all of their specialities. So
that's I think
Uncle Ricka.
I think Dan from Broaxium threw that idea out, and I was like, that is interesting. And now we've seen her shoot Crosshair's blaster out of his hands, track the moon monster today. She was then very smart in how she handled it, like tech. So we just need to see her bench press a gonk droid, and I'll be like,
for good.
Until then, I'm like, okay, this could all be just Force intuition, and I'm on board with either. I love the idea of a Force sensitive clone because that shows that it's like mind over matter, even if it's not like it doesn't have to be genetic one way or the other.
Right.
But also just because Force sensitivity is so often like the way that Star Wars displays power, I'd love to see something different. So like whatever they do, I'm like, that's cool.
And just to prove that the Force it's life force. Life is life, no matter where it comes from and stuff. So the clones, even though they get treated like synthetic beings and stuff, like they are living things that the Force also will reside in and stuff. So.
I did think we were going to get another Mandalorian parallel when Hunter got attacked by the Ordo Moon thing. Cool. I was like, oh god, here comes the Baby Yoda moment when she's going to like hold it in the air.
Wow.
I was glad they didn't do that, because I'm already like, this is pretty similar to the Mandalorian.
Right.
I've seen a lot of people bring up this question, and I'm almost positive that's not Iden Versio.
Yeah, she'd be real young at that point.
Yeah, she'd be real young.
She'd like a little kid, right?
Yeah,
like,
because Iden was
younger
like
than Omega,
late 20s. Whenever she was actually involved with
in the Battle of Endor, and
exactly, which is a long time from then. Yeah,
so
25 years.
I was surprised at the amount of people that was like, "Was that Iden?" And no, that wasn't her.
No, I don't think so.
All right, let's dive into some questions. Our first one comes from Lord Edge. Says, I think something that has to be kept in mind is technically all the clones are 10 to 13, despite being 20 to 27 biologically. Wow. So they're basically still kids. And I meant to bring this up when we were talking about Wrecker, because D. Bradley Baker said that when he's doing Wrecker's voice, he's like, yeah, he's a big, strong baby. Like that's how he imagines Wrecker.
Yeah.
Of course.
I love the way he eats his space churro in one bite. I just have to say that's such like a thing a 13-year-old boy would do. Like,
that made me think if that thing that he was eating was the same thing that Luke was eating on Dagobah.
I thought about that too.
Those rations, the ration sticks or whatever they are. Yeah.
I don't know what I thought it was. I thought it was in a wrapper, and then he just shoved the whole thing in his mouth.
And then I was like, how does Wrecker get so big eating food like this?
That's like Andy eating the candy necklace. There's a string in there, right?
Yeah.
Not mine.
Oh, it's great. I honestly think it would be great that we see a lot of these moments, mean more later, right? You know what I'm saying? Like in particular, like some of the developments we've gotten with these characters alone, like Wrecker being the one that made, Omega her place to stay now. It's so cool. It's like, when you build a little fort in your bedroom as a kid, and like she probably feels that way. And I love that. I really, really like that. It's going to be really nice to see how that develops.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, if you have questions or comments or topics that you want us to touch on, just feel free to send them in as a super chat. But Jane Dalton has a question. Did y'all find it weird that Tarkin was promoted to Grand Moff off screen without any mention?
I was kind of hoping
Defer to
to
Alex.
bring that up. Just because it's another that wasn't supposed to have happened yet.
Yeah.
It happens in the Tarkin book, which I think takes place 5 years
Five
later.
years?
I didn't even pay attention to him
Yeah,
being
the
called
insignia.
Grand Moff.
It was
Or-
just a rank insignia. They did
Oh,
call him
okay.
governor.
Mhm.
Do you think maybe it's just like a goof up for like, it was just in one scene, wasn't it? Like it was at the end.
I think he was having the Grand Moff rank the whole episode.
Okay.
But yeah, in the first one, he was
That would be
an
a while.
admiral.
I don't know.
So I don't know.
Okay.
It did happen between episodes 1 and 3. He got the Grand Moff insignia plaque. So I don't know. I am surprised that they did that without a mention.
I can't remember. It's been so long since I've read Tarkin. Is there a point where it starts out a little earlier and then it moves on 5 years later? I feel like that. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've read it, but
yeah, I think I read it in 2015. So it's
me too. It's like the second book that came out. So
yeah,
That might just be another one of those little details that they're tweaking.
yeah.
It also, I imagine it was probably like Heir to the Jedi, which was supposed to be a book in Legends, and then it just everything got reset, and they were like, "Let's publish it anyway." I wouldn't be surprised if Tarkin were like that as well.
Right.
So maybe they're just gonna push that aside. So add it to the list.
Yeah. We're back to G canon and all that. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I mean, I think it might be headed that way. I don't know. I'm always just gonna try to make everything fit.
Sure.
That's why you guys have Star Wars Explained, right?
Yeah,
because
right.
all you guys in the chat can just come and watch Alex and Molly explain all of it to you guys. You'll be fine.
Yes. I do my best to make it all fit, but
Yeah, and when they change something, Alex turns into comfort mode, and he's like, "It's okay that they changed this. We can all just be okay with this."
Always know though, when I do that in a video or something, that's exactly what I told myself. I sat down and had that conversation mentally. This is fine. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's
right. All of us.
Really
We all need a nerd a therapist. We all need that, if especially if we can't do it for ourselves. But do it for yourself, then come watch this.
Jane sent in another super chat. Thanks, Jane. Do you think the Death Troopers might be the Empire's attempt to enhance normal humans so they don't have to buy enhanced clones? Also, all 4 of the recruits are the same height, like Death Troopers. That's always one of those things where I'm like, that could be just an animation thing, but that is interesting. I'm looking at a picture of them now, and they're pretty similar.
It was interesting reading the Art of Rogue One book when they they were showing all the concept art for the Death Troopers, and I remember reading that the helmets were specifically made to be a lot more narrow. And then that kind of garbled way that they talk to each other in Rogue One, it was meant to cause you to not know if there was a human under there, or if it was like a human like hybrid or something. So because we also saw the what are they called, the decraniated, where it's basically like
half
their heads cut off. So it was meant to be like, it was meant to make you question, like, are those people or not? But then
the visual guide too. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, and then in Rebels, they gave them voices and made them kind of goofy, but
and Mandalorian too.
Well, the visual guide for Rogue One, I remember reading about them, and I think it said something about, like, it almost made it sound like there was a little like black magic or like, dark force stuff going, which, I mean, I know it's like, okay, let's come on, guys, let's just take it easy with the dark side stuff. Okay. But I don't know, like, it seemed like there was like something very arcane about them I'd have to reread it, but definitely. It definitely makes you go, what is there?
Just real quick before we move on, I wanted to bring this one up because apparently Matt Martin, I don't see him explaining it on Twitter. I pulled it up, but he did say if you're trying to make sense out of the Star Wars rank badges, you're going to have a bad time. That South Park meme, which it is true. Those have always been a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's never really been a solid like picture guide of like what each one means exactly. And I think I've seen Pablo talk about it too, where he's just like, I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Like it's just, people are sitting around that table in A New Hope and they just have a bunch of squares on them, which was just prop guys going like boom, boom. They're ranks. And then later it's like, and that guy's an admiral and that one's a general and that guy's a chief. And now that's what those mean. And
just like you said, just go take a cold shower and just you'll be okay. It's okay.
Okay, he does go into it a little bit more. He says that it was just a change on the art side. He didn't even see the rank badge until animation.
Wow.
Do you think that they watched this episode? Do you think Matt or anyone else like Pablo watches like an episode and sees like something like that and goes,
no.
God.
Okay, this is interesting. It's a whole other layer of complexity with Tarkin because he has a military rank and a government title.
So that makes sense.
He could be an admiral and a governor at the same time. I don't know.
That's where it gets a little muddy. And like you said, sometimes it's okay to cope with it and say, that's just an insignia. Like that really isn't as crazy as other things could be, right? And I'm afraid one day we'll get to the stage where we'll just throw our hands up in the air. I think collectively all Star Wars fans. So let's enjoy the small mistakes before we get to the real big one. We're all like, what?
I saved an image today. It was a quote from Joseph Campbell that says, wherever the poetry of myth is interpreted as biography, history, or science, it is killed. Wow. And I was like, I should remember that sometimes.
That's going to be above
that is an excellent that is on a doily on George's coffee table for sure.
He has a doily that says continuity is for wimps because that's what he said.
He's literally said that. Yeah.
Yep.
Just make a good story, and this is also for 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
So dense. So dense.
I wanted all the fit so bad. I feel like I derailed the Death Trooper talk, but
you probably did. But all you guys know this stuff is fake, right? I'm sorry. I'm joking. Let's go on.
I wanted to be real, please. So bad.
I know.
Talking more about Death Troopers, Ice Fisher Tenacity sent in a super chat and said, notable moments, Tarkin is now a governor. Crosshair is kind of the first ever Death Trooper. I really wonder what the Kaminoans are planning.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, what are they going to do with all the existing clones? And like, how are they going to convince the Empire that they are still needed and they still offer a valuable asset? I don't know.
There's a lot still in the tanks too. If you go back to that first episode, they walk by. There's a ton of babies still floating around. I'm like,
right.
That's like 8 more years till they're barely matured. They're the age of 16. So they got 10 more years worth of clones that can age to 20 or whatever. They go in and they end up joining the actual army itself. It's gonna be really weird. It's gonna be really weird. I'm excited.
Like that was my theory on Omega before the show came out, was that Omega, like in the Greek alphabet, not to get too scholarly, Alpha is the beginning and Omega is the end of the alphabet. It's the Z. It's the end of their alphabet. And I was like, oh, Omega, that's okay. She's the end of she's the last clone or something. She's like the last clone produced or something. But clearly not, again, because we do see a bunch of babies in there, unless it's like they're making some other.
Maybe she's like
Jango Fett looking person.
Game or.
Yeah.
I mean, the really dark thought that I keep having is that I think that whole establishment maybe gets blown up, and we don't see what happens to the rest of those clones.
I saw someone, I think it was someone in our Patreon, made a good point that Dr. Pershing in The Mandalorian still has that Kaminoan patch.
Right.
So it is possible that Kamino still exists, all the cloning stuff still exists. Kaminoans maybe not.
Yeah.
But
right. That's what I was
great
thinking.
at cloning.
Yes.
It seems like the Kaminoans are trying to one up, like they're trying to play their own game. They're not good, or like someone today on Twitter called them chaotic neutral or something. I guess I don't know. They're not on anyone's side. They're on their own side. But I agree. I think they're going to wipe the slate and just Palpatine's going to put his own people in there because he needs to have a dead rotting meat body to jump into eventually, and so he's got to get his own people in there so he can start doing that.
I do think the Kaminoans are planning something, and I do hope it's a clone Kamino uprising, kind of like they did in Legends. I think it'll play out differently, but I think it would be so cool if they took the remaining clones and turned them against the Empire.
That would be genius.
It would be clone troopers fighting stormtroopers. Would be so cool.
Oh, it'd be amazing, and it wouldn't have to happen. I mean, that could be the climax of the season, but it wouldn't have to happen as fast as possible. I mean, if it does, it'd be sick. But it will probably take a little while for it to build to that point. You know, it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out because I'm
going to have Battlefront 2 flashbacks in that.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Plug my PlayStation 2 in, we'll actually play it.
Next up, Angus, Angus from Scotland, thanks for your super chat. I had a horrible thought earlier that the crew will discover Omega is force sensitive, and that'll be the moment Wrecker's chip activates. No, thank you.
Oh, Jesus Christ! How would they know?
Terrible.
I'm done. Technically a Jedi. Yeah. Bye, Jerry Sealer. That would be brutal. Good God. Ooh, I don't like thinking about that at all. I really don't.
Oh, maybe. What if Jedi is some kind of like trigger word, and they figure out she's force sensitive, and one of them just says like, "What do you mean, like some kind of Jedi?" And Wrecker just like turns on a dime.
I mean, if they're messing with Wrecker already, it's like, okay, that's the tragic thing that they're doing, and then how do we make it even more tragic? And yeah, he goes after Omega. Oh man, I'm not looking forward to that. Like I know it's gonna be fine.
You guys are terrifying me.
Tech has the little scanner, and it's gonna like shut the chip down or whatever. Like everything is going to be fine. We don't need to worry.
Keep telling yourself that, Alex. Just keep soothing everyone. Just
thank you,
like a cat does to soothe themselves.
Alex Damon, Star Wars Explained, everybody. Thank you.
It's all going to be fine.
Bye.
That's my theory.
But if it doesn't,
yeah. Batman as my dad. Thanks for the super chat. Just says I like Rekka, as Omega would say.
Yep,
Rekka.
Oh,
they're just BFFs, and they hang out. And
I like that they're the brother sister thing though, and then we've got Hunter and her and Hunter being the like the father daughter thing, and I'd imagine when we see Echo and Tech have their moments, it's going to be like the uncle or the cousin or the whatever dynamic you also could find, best friend. You'll see, it's going to be cool. I love it.
I had a weird comparison in my head today. Great. It is Full House in like Nazi Germany or something like today. Like it feels like it is just like you got Wrecker as Uncle Joey, right? Okay, then you've got. I mean, I guess Hunter would have to be Uncle Jesse. Wait, did I say Joey?
He has
Jesse.
the hair.
We're so close. He has the hair, but I mean, he's also Danny. I don't know.
Oh man.
Maybe it's more 3 men and a little lady. I don't know.
I love that. Someone remake the theme song with Bad Batch footage.
Yes,
right now. I'm not joking. I have nothing planned tonight. That's literally what I'm gonna do. That is the greatest thing ever. Oh my god.
Oh.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, you said the brother sister dynamic. I love that they like fell asleep together because they were just playing too hard. I assume they just messed up the ship and then had to take a nap.
Yeah. Oh god, man, that was absolutely. Oh, what we're saying is we don't want Wrecker to don't activate his chip.
Don't hurt Wrecker.
The chip. Leave him alone.
Josh Thompson, thanks for your super chat and question. Mentioning Omega getting a room, since we assume everyone has rooms, Bunks, that means that's a good point. That means they're leaving Crosshair's room empty. Or maybe they all share a bunk. Kind of like they do on Kamino.
It kind of looked like a little makeshift bunk area, like it was a storage spot, but it's just big enough for Omega to have her own little spot, and she can look out into space. And he put little like lights up.
Yeah, that's what she was in the other episode. Whenever she was stuck on the ship with the Tech and Echo, she was in that little same exact area.
Gunner seat.
Yeah, it's a gunner seat
on the Ghost. Honestly,
yep, it's a good.
But where does everyone else sleep? I think is where. Because it does look like a small ship.
Maybe there's not enough chairs. Something like I was trying to figure that out too, because I'm like, I don't see where you can put anything. There's no such thing as rooms in this ship. It's a hallway.
They're hardened soldiers at this point. Maybe they just sleep on the floor.
And that's probably the thing is it's like right. Omega's a kid, and that's the whole point is like she's not really got a place to sleep. She's a kid. She needs a place to sleep.
The moment when she was like, my own room, I've never had one of these. And I was like,
when she turns and says, it's perfect.
It's perfect. Like, just like a bunch of just whatever it is hung up. I'm like, that's
the way Wrecker reacts to it too. He's like, thanks.
It's awesome.
He's so awesome, man. I try.
Whoa.
Where did he get a string of lights? I like to think that he like made that or forced Tech to help him make that.
Right. Tech's in the back like, I helped, but okay. He's getting all the
credit. He's too busy looking up the information he's going to tell everyone at the last possible second.
The next episode.
He's like, by the way, this scanner thing works now, and Wrecker's in trouble.
Molly, I think you've actually predicted how it's going to happen. It's going to literally, Wrecker's going to turn. And he's like, oh, let me get the scanner. Like, what? You got it to work? And he's like, oh yeah, I actually got it to work. That's exactly how it's going to go.
I knew Wrecker's chip was going to activate days ago. Wasn't it obvious?
He kept hitting his head.
Please let that happen.
Oh man,
I do like. He has to be a meme if people haven't started doing it already. Of like, obviously Luke and Leia are siblings. Right. It's obvious.
I'm interested to see if. So say this happens in the next episode. Would this also be the episode that we see Rex and for him to be the one to be like, okay, I can help you. Like we figured out how to get these chips out, and is he the one to then help them fix Wrecker?
Maybe
I could see that. I mean, I think Tech is probably going to be able to handle it. I do want to point out someone kind of roasted me when we were talking about last week, and I was like, I'm surprised Rex didn't take Cut's chip out. Just get it out of there to be safe. But then someone was like, with what? His like rusty farming equipment? Like, that's fair. Yeah, Rex is not a surgeon. He's not Kix or anything. Just like hold you down and cut you open with whatever I find. Like, okay, that's fair.
Field dress you. Yeah.
We really need AZ to join the Bad Batch.
Awesome.
Because then they could go around the galaxy removing clones chips. Like that would be such a good.
Yeah. That's what I hope
for them.
God, that's wild. That's like totally Scooby-Doo or something. Like they're just going from town to town, helping
clones like get normal lives and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's probably what Rex is all about.
Cool.
I wonder if when we do see Rex, if he'll have some kind of medical droid with him for that exact purpose.
Sick.
Maybe,
that maybe he finds after he goes to visit Cut.
Or he becomes some like legend of terror that clones talk about. Like he just goes from town to town, cutting your head open and pulling out part of your brain.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Also, man. Omega was a medical assistant. She might.
That is true.
She might have some skills.
Yeah,
I'm sure she does. She's got great bedside manner. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she helped Echo get through his little PTSD moment.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't like being hooked up to their machines either. It's like,
that's an interesting line. That's the line I think we're gonna see definitely return later.
Agreed.
Like for real.
Absolutely.
Batman is my dad sent another super chat. Do you think the Bad Batch will die since we don't see them in Rebels? Because I feel like Rex would hit them up with the quote, "You up to rebel" text.
You up to rebel? Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, rebel.
Man, I don't know.
It's one of those like that everyone kind of jumps to that because it's like, well, we never see Cal Kestis in the future. We never see Ahsoka in Revenge of the Sith, so she must be dead. So everyone always jumps to that, but almost always, except for Kanan's case so far, they're still alive and well as far as we know. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to say that they're definitely all dead. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them don't make it. But I kind of hope they all do at this point.
Of course.
And if they're all just like chilling and living a life of peace, maybe Rex is like, let them chill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, this show
living that Full House life on like a planet, on a San Francisco planet.
Yes, please.
Well, this show could build up to being kind of like how Clone Wars is now, where they're bringing a lot of these characters really into live action, you know, in particular Ahsoka. So this show could gain the notoriety and the ability to be a huge fan favorite, and they could say, let's finish telling their story in live action, which I'm never opposed to, but it would be a lot of interesting things. It'd be
I would love to see that. I've been campaigning to see a clone anywhere. It doesn't have to be a clone that we know, but they have Tamir Morrison put a clone, like have one just running a random bar on a random planet and have it be him, and like he's just telling war stories to his patrons, and I'm like, oh, that would be so cool.
That is a dream.
Can you imagine though if they did the Bad Batch in live action and then poured Tamir Morrison? Like that's a little different from D. Bradley Baker.
I didn't think about how much
doing all the voices.
They'd have to do that Benjamin Button technology. For
so much different makeup, so many different like outfits.
Well, one of them could show up, which would be cool. Just one person, you know. Hunter would be sick to see, you know, a little bit older with the hair and everything. Oh, I would love that. Yeah, and that is a kind of a hard thing. I didn't think about it logistically. That is a nightmare. That is like that's wild, man. Whew.
Yeah.
Ice Fisher Tenacity, thanks for another super chat. Omega in Jedi Fallen Order 2 or Cal in Bad Batch. That's my big. Like I'm gonna plant my flag here and say that Cal is gonna be in the Bad Batch. I don't think he's gonna have a big role, but I do think that in the trailer we see them go to Braca, and that's where he's hiding.
Oh, dude, like a young Cal, like when he was like real young.
I mean, it would have been not long after,
right after
Order 66. So I don't think he would do much with them. Like maybe they bump into this little red-headed scrapper and he's like panics and runs away. Like
what if that's what makes Wrecker turn? I don't know. That's a whole other thing. I don't want to get into that. But again,
will we stop bringing up Wrecker turning? I can't take anymore. Sorry, I'm joking.
We've talked about this. We've kind of touched on this in the past. And if Omega is in fact Force sensitive and they run into Cal, she might like perk up a little bit when she sees him, and they might have like a quick silent moment where she just acknowledges him, and he's like,
man, I like that.
That's pretty cool.
We're getting to it. We're getting too far into it now. We're getting these expectations. We can't have these expectations. We just can't.
Yeah, it would be.
I'll be fine.
All the what ifs
will be fine.
Like, what ifs?
I'll just look over at my little Fallen Order shrine right there.
Yes.
I totally forgot. I got an email today. GameStop is sending me another. I pre-ordered like the Cal Kestis with the big poncho and stuff.
Oh yeah,
that like months ago, and it's about
is
to
it
get
pink?
Here.
Is it a pink? poncho?
No, it's not the pink poncho. Unfortunately,
boo! I don't want it.
Oh,
yeah.
Are you going to get the lightsaber, Alex, when it comes to Galaxy's Edge, or no? The Cal Kestis lightsaber.
I'd love to have it. That's my favorite. I love the pronged design.
Yeah,
that is really
awesome. A replica, so.
Yeah. So sick.
I want this is totally off subject, but I want Rey's lightsaber so bad.
Oh my god, this last week was brutal looking at that. I'm not gonna lie.
I can't believe that it doesn't exist even in just like a regular saber form, like the I
need someone to get it for me.
Still
someone in Florida.
So cool.
Nice.
Oh,
the Obi-Wan Phantom Menace one. Oh god,
that's amazing.
Look at it right now.
We'll have to do a whole nother episode on all of
on what lightsabers
we really
the last time when we were at Galaxy's Edge, I just stood there staring at all the legacy ones, and it's like I just built one, and I'm like, I can't like justify spending money on another one, but I just stood there staring at him, and I was like, no, I'd walk away and I'd come back like, but maybe no, Katie doesn't know.
It's so
she doesn't know.
Oh man,
that I should not have spent.
Hi, Katie.
Oh, let's get back on track.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
that's right. With Bombadcast, it gets like this.
Christian Hardesty, thank you for your super chat. What if Rekka's chip? I love that everyone's typing Rekka. Rekka's chip is a misdirect, and Hunter gets captured by Crosshair to let the Bad Batch get away, and they turn on Hunter's chip. But Omega uses the Force to get through, like Ahsoka did with Rex.
Jeez,
that's a whole story right there. So much just happened.
Episode. That's a storyboard.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's what they're saying here is they're setting up this danger that the chips weren't a one-time thing, and they can be turned on, and Wrecker's in danger of that right now, and they'll figure that out. And that will be the driving force behind like, oh, we got to take these out.
Yeah.
Right.
And we got to help other clones take them out.
Man,
that's
I'm
cool.
So ready for that. I'm so
ready. That is really
I'm
cool.
ready for that mission. I'm ready for let's go save people.
Yeah.
I'm everyone
really,
intact.
I'm really interested to see like at what point does Crosshair catch up with them? Because like Hunter had that line of like, well, Crosshair is on our tails, tracking us, but he's not the tracker. He could,
I know, right?
Be just like really, he's like, I don't know where they went. I'm just a good shot.
Does Hunter have no idea how to like hide their trail? No, he's like, I can only track. Otherwise, I'm useless.
I kind of like how
footprints everywhere.
This show's done something really cool where it doesn't tell you this is where we're going next. It's like every episode, kind of like Mando. You start it up, you're like, all right, where are we going this time? It hasn't been like most Clone Wars or Rebels arcs where you're like, and we need to go here next. And I've really enjoyed that a lot. Actually, it's kind of diverging from that kind of serial kind of storytelling. It's really nice.
Yeah,
I agree.
Ace Bronx sent in a super chat with no message, but thank you, Ace. If you had a message, let one of our mods know. Another one from Batman is my dad. I want to see after this series that all the clones settled on a planet and created a civilization. Sure. Yeah. Give us a happy ending for them.
Yeah, like I'm cool with that. The clones can just relax if they want to. Like they already fought. You can fight your own wars. Your regs. We're going to go sit on this planet, on this beach planet, and relax.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And like make it the opposite of Camino, make it really sunny, really beautiful, no water, just like make it
not Scarif. Not
Scarif, but just oh my God, Jerry. Just somewhere that's pleasant. You know what I mean?
It's gonna be like the very end of Battlestar where it's just like, okay, it's just us, we're starting over.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe because they love dirt. Like, just find a dirt planet, and they'll be like, "Wow,
this is what is this?"
maybe wherever Cut goes, wherever Cut and his family end up, they're all going to go there, and Cut's going to be their leader, and he's going to teach them how to be like a normal person with a family.
Yes, that's kind of cool.
I love that. That's the fate I want for all of they've got the short end of the stick in the galaxy for real.
Yes.
These poor guys, man. How dare you, Dave and George, take us on the journey of the Clone Wars and give them all these amazing personalities. It's awesome, but just
it is.
Oh man, it's so tragic.
Agreed. Alejandra Barrera, excuse me. Thank you for your super chat. Also, can we mention of getting more Boba in Bad Batch possibly, or Kaminoans cloning Force-sensitive beings, possible allusion for Starkiller into canon?
I mean, what I said earlier about the Kaminoans needing to, or seemingly they want to find a way to still be relevant for the Empire since they don't really want clones anymore. They might be like, well, hey, your leader and how special he is and how scared everyone is of him. Maybe we can make a clone of him.
That's interesting. I would not. That's not out the books, apparently. I mean, come on, let's be real. That's awesome.
Starkiller, I'm like, he did have.
I don't know.
He had a bit of a relationship with Camino in the games. It's been a while since I played 2, but I think, I mean, he's definitely a clone in 2, and I think there's a mission there. And it's not outside of the question because they kind of considered him for an Inquisitor in Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
So
Dave thought about it, and Dave is, helping run this thing. So never know.
Yeah, I'd say never say never.
Yeah.
For Boba Fett, yeah, I think that'll probably happen at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the camp of let's do that Cad Bane Boba Fett arc that was going to be in the Clone Wars.
So cool.
Find a way to adapt it here because we need some Cad Bane closure.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We'll get it. We'll get it.
Yeah. Mike Levins, thanks for your super chat. This Halloween, I want to see the Bad Batch makeup and Kiss makeup. Ooh.
Okay, that's strictly because Paul Stanley is my neighbor, and he's not going to show up tonight. I told him specifically.
It's one of our bits. Yeah.
That's not a bit. It's real life, Jerry. Jesus.
It's real life. It's real life. Yes. Yes. This is a Bombadcast reference. Hi, Mike. Good to see you,
Mike.
buddy.
I'm very happy you're here.
Thank you for the super chat.
Is Paul a big Star Wars fan?
Paul.
Or does he just like kick your door in?
I heard him come in.
Yes. Uh-oh.
How we doing when we watching Star Wars? Yeah, no, he's a big Star Wars fan. He's a big Star Wars fan. It's very alarming. Telling me he shows up when he shouldn't. It's the worst thing in the world.
Especially, I mean, you had a little bit of a respite, but then he got vaccinated, and so it's just it's off the walls now. He's like, I can hang out with you now.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Sorry, y'all.
He just wants that social interaction. I understand.
No, I get it.
And if you guys want more of that nonsense, come to Bombadcast.
Yeah, if you want whatever just happened there. Sorry. Ooh, it stresses me out.
Richard Ganther, thank you so much for your super chat. I love Omega. I love Clone Force 99. And I love the score on the Bad Batch. Thank you for giving fans a place to come and share Star Wars.
Wait a minute. The score.
Thank you, Richard. Yeah, we haven't talked about the music much
at all. Blade Runner-esque. Like at one point, I was like, "What?
That,
Tears in the Rain? Like, what are we getting right now?" I am down.
The part, Molly, you were talking about with Crosshair as he sits down on the bunk, as he passes the marks that Wrecker made. Something about the score there. I mean, it's just very atmospheric in this episode for sure. Very.
And I love the little bits of Omega's theme that we're starting to get little bits and pieces of, and I'm just waiting for it to like blast in full force.
That's what I keep thinking about this score is like it feels subdued compared to a lot of other Star Wars music, and I'm waiting for it. Like I can hear these themes like in all their glory. I'm imagining it, and Omega's theme is one of them where I'm like, she's gonna do something crazy and we're just going to hear that music like blasted with a full orchestra. I'm excited.
It's going to be incredible. It feels like I don't know if I'm off base on this, but it feels like it's more of like a more mature score than any other Star Wars property we've gotten so far. Even Mandalorian, it just, I don't know. And maybe it's just because it is like, it's a very dark time. We are in the dark times and stuff. And so, but still very innately Star Wars. And I love the Bad Batch theme at the end. I want that. I don't know if that's not the version I think on the final season's like album. I want that version where it kind of goes into the bombastic, mature-ish kind of like, themes of that.
I think it'll build back into it. And it's just right now, like you said, dark times, everything's a little quieter, but when they find out who they are during this point in time, I think it'll pick back up.
Well, when they were exploring the place, the moon, the music was really cool, really ominous. That's what made me think of Blade Runner. It was like very, very, way less musical and way more atmospheric. And you felt like, kind of some droning notes that, were filtered and unfiltered. I'm like, that's really cool musically because it makes it intense without, kind of giving away too much. It's really nice, actually.
Yeah. Kevin Kiner is really good at his job.
Oh, amazing.
He's got it down to a T. Blue Bantha Milk Co. What's up?
The boys.
How's it going, guys?
Their chips aren't the only thing that can be turned on repeatedly. I see you, Jerry.
I see you too, guys. Love you guys. Yeah, how you doing?
But I love that. Well, if animation's kind of what gets you there, then by all means.
Well, we just agree it's a more mature score. So
yes. Depends how mature.
But anyway, sorry.
Matt texted me too and just said, "I'm sorry for my super chat."
No, it's good.
You're good, buddy. You're good, Matt. We still love you. I don't see you. I see you in here.
Ace Bronx, thanks for another super chat. How do you think Omega will get? God, everyone's typing in New Zealand accent, and I love it.
Omega.
How do you think Omega will get her Night Sister bow?
Ooh.
Oh, that's just so cool.
They go into Dathomir.
It looks so different compared to everything else that's on that ship. I thought it'd be something that like, oh, we found this, but it's not going to be the case. It's going to be someone that that's probably gifted to them at some point, which is really cool.
I wonder if she gets it from Fennec Shand somehow.
Ooh.
Well, that'd be sweet.
That would be interesting.
Fennec's like, you look like you need a gun.
Here you go, kid.
Take this thing.
I still don't know how they're going to incorporate her into this story, but if she's somewhat friendly, or maybe they know her and they run into her and they have like a scrap somewhere, and Omega's like, I have nothing, and maybe she tosses her something. I don't know.
Could be cool. I don't know.
Well, she's obviously skilled with a blaster, so it must be the same. Maybe she's been trained. I don't know. We don't really know if she's been trained from that young of an age to be able to do things like that. So that's actually kind of cool.
Just got great aim.
Yeah, apparently.
Do you think Crosshair's as good with like a bow and arrow? Is he like Bullseye in Daredevil, where he's good with every projectile?
Every weapon.
I mean, he shot that knife, but that was with the gun and stuff.
Oh, that was sick.
That was cool.
It was
cool. It was really cool. But that would be kind of fun. Yeah, if he was just that. He's got the bullseye and everything on him. I know that's technically Crosshairs. I know.
The one who cannot smell, thank you for your super chat. Do you think Echo and or Tech will question Hunter about Omega? Oops.
In what way?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe at some point they're like, hey, like what's your long game plan here?
Okay. That's kind of cool.
Maybe because I mean
they're on board.
She is a child, and her place really isn't in a battlefield.
No,
and again, now we're in this fascist regime, that is willingly killing. I mean, it's hard to shield children from stuff like that and stuff like I assume.
So this has come up a couple of times, whether or not she has the accelerated aging. If we're gonna at some point, if we're gonna see her like a completely different model of her as kind of an adult.
I think she probably will age quickly.
I would hope we do that, because Ahsoka changed. I mean, obviously significantly because the animation got better, but like in terms of like her actual features, it's slightly changed from the movie to the actual end of season 7. So yeah, let's make that happen.
I mean, she got a model update in season 3.
Yes,
so I'm not expecting every season. If this goes on multiple seasons, I don't think she's going to change in season 2, but maybe in season 3 and then again in 5. I don't know how long this show is going to run, but
let's keep it going. I'm loving it.
I think I'm the only person who thinks that the growth acceleration might not even be a thing for the Bad Batch or Omega. Maybe mainly for Omega, but I feel like there's, I don't know. I could be wrong, because obviously they grew them really fast,
right?
To be where the age they are now. I don't know. That makes me so sad that they age so fast.
Yeah.
I don't know. The driver and the elephant just sent in a super chat. Thank you. If you had a message you want to get through,
it's in the mods document.
Oh, okay.
But I can read it. Do you think the Kaminoans are going to send Fennec Shand and Boba Fett to track down the Bad Batch?
Whoa. I almost like their friendship being when they're adults rather than, Fennec Shand being a little bit older than him. I think that's interesting. But I personally, I would like if it was just Fennec Shand and, she has a story to tell Boba Fett later, and Boba Fett. I actually
Boba has to still build up his reputation at this point, right?
Yeah. He's still really young.
Yeah. Hence bring that Cad Bane arc back in.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that'll be a great way to build it up. I mean, you make him one of the baddest bounty hunters in the galaxy by doing just that alone, killing the other baddest bounty hunter in the galaxy. It's kind of cool.
I'm up for either. I'd see them have a relationship early on, a friendship or a rivalry or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we see them at this point, it would be fun if they were at odds.
Yeah,
and then it shows their growth and how Boba Fett has changed. Although I'm basing that off of 2 episodes in The Mandalorian, where Book of Boba Fett, he could be back to who he was. Who knows?
Right.
Paul Stanley's Soul Station says
that's one of ours.
I want to say, I heart the Bad Batch.
Can I read it?
Explain go ahead.
So Paul's my neighbor, right? And I hear him constantly, and this is how Paul would say it. You ready? I want to say I love, and I mean it, I love the Bad Batch. Star Wars Explained, Molly Damon, and my Bombad boys. And thank you, Paul. He probably heard me, so I will get a knock at my door eventually.
Yes.
That's just how Paul talks. I mean, he'll.
It's amazing how close that is.
Yeah, it's crazy. And every morning he'll go outside at 3:30 and he goes, cock-a-doodle-doo. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why? This is so unnecessary. It's not even, it's way too, the sun's not out. And he just keeps doing it. And he goes, moo, moo, I'm a big cow. And I'm like, this is so unbelievable. And it's just in his robe and he's just yelling at his Buick Skylark from 1997. I wish I could explain this to the Star Wars Explained viewers, but if you want more of whatever that just happened, that's he shows up occasionally. He really does.
I'm starting to think you're a Kiss podcast.
No, it's something. I mean, he loves Star Wars. He just loves that Star Wars and Kiss were popular at the same exact time, and that's the only thing he remembers from that era.
We are a show.
That makes sense.
We are a show.
Yes, we are a show. Mm-hmm. That's one word for
it. Christian Hardesty, thanks so much for your super chat. I think Fennec Shand, can't wait to hear how Omega pronounces that, can be a good big sister for Omega.
Oh,
Fennec
okay.
Fennec Shand.
Phoenix Shand.
That's kind of cool, actually. I love that.
Shand.
Man.
Though I was the way she was saying pot, the pot, or not the pot, no, the part
Jerry.
or something. Today, I don't know.
Oh,
the pot.
The pot. Yeah. There was no R in there.
Gotta get the pot.
Yeah, that's it. Good job, Molly.
Molly's got it. Molly's got it dead on.
Oh, it's funny. I did like that. I hope they continue to give her difficult words to say. That just makes me happy.
Yeah, I could see Fennec being I don't think she would join the whole crew, but I think for some reason I'm imagining her as being an enemy to the Bad Batch at first, and by the end she's won over. Because how could you be an enemy of Omega? So
Omega could see her in action, and she could just be like, "Wow!" Like she is with everything.
Yeah,
because everything is new to her. But she could just be like, "Wow, she's so cool and awesome," and I can be like that.
Yeah, that'd be the first human woman she's been around probably too, which would be really awesome. Be kind of a cool dynamic because the Kaminoans they're probably the driest alien we get in Star Wars.
Yes.
They're not Paul Stanley, I'll tell you that much.
They're very bland. However, I will say, if given the option, I would want a Nala Se voice for my GPS because she's so soothing.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. It's true. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
It's I don't care that the traffic's out there, Nala Se. Just get me to where I'm going. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm gonna be super zen no matter what.
100%.
Alejandro Barrera, thank you for another super chat. Finnick versus Crosshair. Also, I hope Rex gets to talk to Echo more and talks about what happened to Fives. And Vader showing up to stop these guys would be cool.
Oh man, I have been thinking though, like, are we going to get Vader? I mean, eventually we might get at least like a scene with him, right? Like maybe if he doesn't have to interact with every character we see. But I don't know. It would be interesting.
At this point, I'd be surprised if he never showed up.
I could see us getting a scene with him and Tarkin having a little heart to heart.
Yeah. Well, I mean, going down dark rabbit holes. I mean, if Omega is Force sensitive, this is prime Vader hunting down the Jedi time. So.
Don't like that.
Yeah.
That's how the Bad Batch dies.
Nope.
They could go Project Harvester with her though. Like she wasn't raised as a Jedi, so maybe we'll raise her as an Inquisitor. Yeah.
That
would suck too, though. Like,
it would still suck.
Don't do that.
Core Adept, thanks for the super chat. I imagine the Kaminoans would be the one to reach out to Boba Fett based on their relationship with Jango.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wonder if they keep in touch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he used to live there. I wonder if he still has his room, his apartment.
Yeah.
If Boba like writes letters to what's her name?
Tonli.
Tonwi.
Tonwi's here.
Oh. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Do you think like he calls them on Life Day or something, and just like
let's chat.
Yeah. Just for a minute.
They helped raise him. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I wonder. We were talking for our Q&A. We were shooting it for tomorrow, and someone asked, like, "Why is Jango Fett's DNA so important?" And we were making jokes about the movie Multiplicity, where if you make a clone of a clone, like it just starts to degrade really fast.
Yeah.
But I wonder if, since Boba is a clone, but he's not modified the way the others are. So I wonder if they could try to use his DNA to, because they were like, Jango's DNA is degrading. We're running out of it. But I wonder if Boba's is.
Boba's the next best thing.
That's awesome.
Wow. That would be very interesting. It'd be a good way to bring him in.
Yeah. Throw that out there. Madman's Knowledge, thanks for the super chat. Crosshair shooting the trooper reminded me of Admiral Kane in Battlestar Galactica. Yep.
That stuff was brutal, man.
I mean, yeah, it's a very similar situation of like, okay, if you refuse my orders, I kill you, and then everyone else is afraid of me, and they will not defy me. Same thing.
I like that the pilot got killed too, because I was thinking, they're going to get out of there. It's going to be fine. Like I really, for a half a second, I'm like, they're good. He gets in the pilot chair and then gets shot through the window. I'm like, okay, never mind. We're going to watch this happen.
That was so brutal.
Yeah.
It's all, the whole thing. And then the troop, the soldier that gets out and is like trying to talk to him and just like immediately,
done.
It's all just so, that whole scene, man, that's hard.
Connor Bricks, thanks for your super chat. What if Omega's enhancement is that she learns stuff fast, like she can easily catch on to hunting by looking at Hunter? I mean, that's kind of like like children are sponges for information,
right?
That could be part of her enhancement for sure.
I can see that.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool, actually, because she was so intrigued with how he was. What was the phrase they used? He was someone that actually paid attention. When he was not scouting, not the correct word.
Tracking.
Tracking. Yeah, sorry, tracking. When she was super into it, right? And that's inevitably how she ended up doing what she did earlier.
She like throughout the. I don't know why I'm doing all these noises now. Excuse me. The record skipped there for a second. If you notice, she's been like, she is mimicking Hunter and stuff at least a few times. Like I've seen people like put little like clips of her just like, and in this episode, she bends down and bends down, like picks up the dirt after he does, or so, like looks at the tracks. So it's just very, Yeah, I mean, you can see it. Like, she's doing that. That would be kind of neat if she's just very, like, that's her superpowers. I can just learn anything. Like that.
She's on the ship. Whenever they show her on the ship, she's always got her little space iPad, is what I call it. But I feel like all of those shots are telling us, like, she's picking up on what Tech's doing. Like, she's looking at all these diagnostics and like learning how they're piloting the ship. And
right.
So.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
It's a superpower I wish I had. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really good at learning.
Yeah.
Bakey coming in with looks like our last question of the night. Thanks so much. Do you think we'll see Tarkin again, or will he be replaced by Rampart?
Wow.
I bet we'll see Tarkin again, but I do think Rampart is going to be the more present villain.
Yeah, because Tarkin's he's pretty busy with some other things, maybe.
Right.
Do you think this is how we get Cody and other people in too? Because they could get the other generals and leaders to come train the new factions of I wrote it down exactly how it was phrased, the conscripted army, right? Like, because they need to start hiring more people, obviously, to be a part of the Empire. But they could definitely get former clone generals to come in and then train that next group of people, right? So that is very interesting. I mean, he could be the big villain of the show for that reason alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see him as like a Governor Price type.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I keep wondering if we're gonna see Krennic.
Oh,
I really want to get Ben Mendelsohn back there doing the voice. That'd be so good.
He'd do it.
I think he would.
He loves that character. I guess
it's too soon for Galen to be back with him. That's more around Solo time, right?
I think he's probably there. I don't think he's left yet.
No, he hasn't left.
Right.
Coruscant. Remember, they're on Coruscant, that glass
I'm like thinking Catalyst and stuff. We also had like a thing where, what if we meet a very young Cassian Andor or something? That would be interesting to see him, since he is a separatist in canon, to have that in like a visual medium, interacting with clones.
Yeah.
That would be intriguing.
That's good. Yeah. Not to mention, obviously, his show comes out next year, so that feels very corporate synergy. Like,
hire me, Disney. I'm here. Lucasfilm. Yeah.
I only think about Krennic just because, like, in Rogue One, the Death Troopers were always like with him.
Yeah,
that was kind of his deal. So
that's cool.
I don't know.
I like the idea of maybe Krennic killing Rampart, which then he takes on that role, kind of like how Tarkin killed Krennic to take on the Death Star role. It's kind of, it's very much like you kill the next person in charge, just because.
But that's something I said in my review today because of that one trooper who wound up being the anti-war criminal. Good for him. But he's immediately like, oh, I'm going to take your spot, you clone. You don't belong here. Like, that's the dark side is all about looking out for number one and not like the common good. And I'm going to step on you so I can move up the ranks. And that's all I care about. And that's they can never just work together.
Interesting. I like it.
Such good topics came up today. I love talking about this episode.
But we've been going,
and it was the shortest one yet, right? But it just so dense to quote Rick.
So dense,
dense.
So
every frame, so much going on.
Still so many what ifs up in the air. But I'm excited.
This is the best part. This is the best part to me. Where we're all wondering, no answers yet. It's so much fun.
Like you said, Scotty, like every episode opens and we're just like, what's happening? Where are they? So,
I have no idea what's going on next week. And that's awesome. Like I'm just excited to see where they go next.
Yeah, they haven't even put out like a trailer or a title or anything. As far as I know.
Yeah, that was cool. If you look on Disney Plus, notice it this morning. They just had season 1, episode 3. They did not have the actual title of the episode yet.
Interesting.
So it didn't say replacements, which is a pretty cool word, by the way, if we wanted to round this whole conversation out, because there is like a couple of different themes of replacement in this alone. Like, obviously Omega replacing Crosshair to a certain extent, and then the team being the new Bad Batch. That's really good thematic, I guess, tying together.
The Kaminoans worrying about being replaced.
Yes.
Right.
Crosshair's replacing his family. They have to literally replace parts of their ship.
Yep, that's true. I love that. See, that's the kind of stuff we need. That's just deep.
They replaced the part that the creature was eating with a flashlight.
The flashlight.
Yep.
No,
hey, it's there. Get into the nitty-gritty.
We've been going for an hour and a half, so we'll let you at the Bombadcast go. But where can everyone find you and follow you online?
So you want me to do it, Jerry? You want to do it? Who speaks first?
Go ahead.
Okay. You can find us at, obviously, we're a part of a network beyond the Blast Doors Live. We've got a bunch of great shows in the network. But please, if you want to find us there, we are live every Thursday. Paul shows up. For some reason, Space Alex Jones, his frequency comes in. It's a whole thing. It's terrifying when he shows up. But we try
to keep him out.
We do mostly really deep, weird, nerdy discussion, like the weirdest of the weird. But we have a live format and we really enjoy doing it that way. So come in and get spontaneous. It gets kind of strange. It's always fun. And every Thursday night at Beyond the Blast Doors network on YouTube. So check us out.
Last night we just had Charlie Ashby and Mark Newbold on, and we talked about Rogue One and just kind of tried to change Scotty's opinion of it and stuff.
It's the lowest on my list.
It was rather fun. It was rather fun. So go check that out. But and then find us at Bombadcast and at I actually put my thing in the thing today.
I didn't do that.
My thing in the thing at the Canon Junkie, because I'm a professional.
Yeah, we've got links to all that stuff, I think, down in the description. So
we do right now. So go check them out. And you guys are always so much fun to hang out with and talk.
Can I say one thing? Because you have a pretty big following, Alex. Now, I just want to say it right now. You may have seen this face before, and that could be from a reaction video. So hopefully you may have someone in this viewing was totally like, that guy looks familiar. I'm telling you, someone definitely thought.
Cry for a second. Cry for a second.
Yeah, I can cry.
I'm just kidding.
I can cry about how.
Think about Wrecker. Think about Wrecker turning and trying to go after Omega.
I can't do it right now. I'll just think about Paul Stanley just painting the side of my house. But you may have seen me from there, so that's something else to enjoy. But thank you, Alex. I appreciate it, man. Glad we could be on. It really means a lot.
Yeah, I'm so glad you guys could join us.
Yeah, thank Molly, you guys so much. Anything? Nice to be.
I'm at Molly Damon on Twitter. You can catch me on Star Wars Explained. Every Saturday we do our Q&As. If you're a Schmodown fan, check out A Certain Point of View. That's the podcast that I do on YouTube about Schmodown, and we are doing a live play along and reaction to a match tonight, and we have a special guest joining us who is actually a Star Wars podcaster that you might know. So stay tuned.
Are you just gonna not say it?
we haven't announced who it is.
Okay, my bad.
Surprise. It's a surprise.
Alex.
All right. Just gonna shout him out.
It's not you.
We'll leave, guys.
It's not me. It's not me.
It's not Alex.
It's me. No, I'm just kidding.
I think our next live stream will be on Wednesday. We're going to be doing a new Lego build. I think we said we were going to do the Scout Trooper helmet, but I don't know. We might change our minds. We'll see. We got the Scout Trooper helmet. We've got the Darth Vader helmet. We have the probe droid.
You got R2 yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
He's on his way.
Yeah, we got to. I want it.
Yeah, 100%.
Want it.
So awesome.
But yeah, thank you again, everyone in the chat, for joining us and chatting. Thank you for the super chats and the support. And go check out the Bombadcast in the description. Give them a follow, give them a subscribe, give them a listen, because they're great. And we'll see you all next time.
Bye, guys.